All right. Well, the coolest call sign in European business aviation is definitely "Hello, Air Traffic Control. This is Dream Team 123," which is the call sign of GlobeAir. GlobeAir is the biggest operator worldwide of Citation Mustangs. It's also probably the biggest brand in European business aviation. But what really interests us at Rise is efficiency. And when I think of efficiency in this industry, I think of GlobeAir. I think you guys keep pushing the boundaries of how things can be done commercially, but also operationally. So if we can have a conversation about operations, the efficiency of operations, that'd be wonderful. Thanks for being here, Bernhard. So Bernhard Fragner, you're the CEO of GlobeAir. You don't really need an introduction. Everyone knows you. Could you tell us something that's not on your CV?
Thank you, Max, for having me here. It's really a pleasure. And yeah, as you said, my dream team and I are driven by efficiency. This is our daily mission because we're taking care of efficiency of our customers. And with our product and our service, we're focused on giving back quality time to our customers, which is at the end of the day efficiency. So what maybe or only a few people know is that I have started at the age of 8 coding software heavily, and I did this for almost 10 years. So it was obvious that my path and my professional career will become a software engineer. But then I decided to go differently. So I am obsessed by IT and software, and as just told, I started with the age of 8 coding, and this was most of the time of my youth. I was behind the screen and writing software.
Right. And so that's one of the ways that you're pushing efficiencies within GlobeAir. I mean, that mission you like to say, right? That you give people their time back. Is it the same philosophy you're applying to your clients when you fly them around, and that you also apply inside the company? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think the very DNA of our dream team is the understanding of the importance and the value of time, and this was actually also the idea to found the company. Because back then, when I was an engineer, so I ended up as a mechanical engineer, civil engineering. I had to travel a lot, and I spent most of my time in the car, actually traveling across Europe, mainly Eastern Europe. And then I learned this is not efficient at all. So why I did my study, and then engineering sophisticated stuff while the most of the time I spend in my car. And I was trying to identify alternatives to be more efficient. And then I ended up on flying a plane and then doing my appointments and then meeting people and going to the project by plane. So this is a fundamental core concept that I think I understood, that the value of time is significant. Um, Not many people taking care of that. And I think business aviation uh, is one of the most exciting tool to gain time back, right? And I think this is very often misunderstood. Um, we have all these pictures in our heads about caviar and champagne, but I think that's not the case. Maybe just here and there, but I think the primary focus is on time efficiency. So we see this in our customer base. So we do roughly between, I don't know, 12,000 and 15,000 flights a year. And we have a few thousand accounts of our customers across all different industries and also sport and entertainment. And there's one thing they all share together, which is a very tight calendar. And our mission is to optimize this calendar, or to free up the calendar for more important things, just sitting around the airports. And I think business jets are a very effective tool when it comes to optimize your travel.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting how most of the operators out there talk about oh, we have this brand new plane, this wonderful catering service, and which is great. But it seems like some of them may be missing out what you consider as being the number one value, right? Which is let's save you time. Yeah.
F So there, as you just mentioned, there's an important element, the education about the product, and I think we're still lacking a lot of these educational facts. I give you one example. I know with our aircrafts, we can reach, just in Europe, almost 1,000 different airports when it comes to going to remote places. I can share with you that we don't use those 1,000 airports, but we know actually we are using always every year, if we look at stats, between 380 and 450 different airports. So if we both would sit down together now and create a list of airports which we have in our head, maybe we come to, I don't know, 50, yeah, which we know by heart. But there are 10 times more out there, and we use them actually. So I think the majority of people who have the need of traveling for business reasons, for private reasons, or it's a hybrid thing, they don't know that this infrastructure is existing first, and then they don't know how to access this industry. And I think this is the fundamental core problem and the challenge actually of our industry, to educate the customer what's possible. Yeah? And and there's still a long way to go, I think.
Sure, yeah. I mean, GlobeAir has been around for since 2008, I believe. Is that when you started it?
Correct. Yeah.
So along the way, you must have been making a long list of decisions. That's what CEOs are for. Can you recall one or two big decisions you made, which today sets you apart from your competition? When did you make these turning points that made GlobeAir what it is today?
I think this is not just a multiple factors of decision makings. Of course, as very often, and I did these lessons I just mentioned you in software engineering. I don't know how often I made mistakes or built in bugs and errors. So you go back and do it again, and you go back and do it again. So, and I think our team has done, including myself, probably I made the biggest mistakes in the history of the company. But you say, okay, this is the learning, even if it costs a lot of money, but you do it again, right? So this iterative process to optimize processes, um, the way you look at business, the way you do your marketing, I think this is a key element. Yeah, the constant learning. I think you never learn from success; you always learn from fails. And I'm more than happy of any fail. And I think this is one thing I learned really back then as a child when coding. You code on software, and then you run through the compiler, and then you wait 2 3 hours back then, you remember, then you start the code and the program, and then boom, it crashes. So then you do it again. So you learn not to be frustrated. It's a process, right? So there's a lot of things we have done on the way, and hopefully we continue to learn more and more and more. But I think a few fundamental things is that in, this was one of the very first decision makings, that we don't advertise aircrafts. So we're really focusing on the message we're sending. So it's about time, nothing else. Week time. I know that flying on our planes is it's nice and efficient, and you get to remote places, and it's flexible. So you arrive at the airport within 10 minutes, you're up in the air, but it's not equivalent to business or first class, right? So the product itself, it's not about luxury. It's about really focusing on time. And this decision have been done in the very early days, that we focus on time. Yeah, very key element. And till today, this is on the onboarding process, even in the recruitment, we ask what is our product, and I want that everyone understands what is our co-product. Secondly, I would say we since day one, I was insisting on IT, and having a solid infrastructure in IT, and being on the forefront on software, how we use software. I always say, I remember many, many years ago, I said, any email, any sheet of paper, or any Excel sheet is like a cancer for the company. So we have to look at all those three things: paper, Excel sheets, and email, and we have to clean them up. Yeah? Because there's all workarounds, and I'm not happy with that. So focus on digitization and IT. As well, I was fascinated back then when we founded the company. There was a company in US with Eclipse Aviation and then Dayjet, where they really had this idea to scale it up, to democratize the way of traveling by private jets. And in the background, everything was run by software. And I know Steve Ballmer, who was basically a co-founder of Microsoft. He was the main investor in Dayjet himself as a private individual. And I had a few chats with him, and he was obsessed. We have to run it by software, yeah? I'm still convinced about that. So focusing on software was, I think, one of the key decisions and drivers till today. And I'm very excited that we live now in times where we are in the beginning of all this AI power, and I'm sure the next 5 years, our daily life will completely different than it looks today, and this will come to business aviation as well. So I'm very much looking forward to be part of this, to see this transformation of our economy, of our society, actually how we behave, how we do things, supported by AI. I remember when I was at the university, we learned about neuronal networks, which is basically AI. So I have a understanding how it works and how quickly it can evolve. So this I think was really key to focus on software, thanks to Rise as well, which was a key driver. And then I think one fundamental decision we made basically 10 years ago, because we have tried a lot of things in marketing, because I'm strongly convinced you need to build a brand, and behind the brand you put some core values where you those you have to communicate to your customers, and they have to trust and believe in those values, and then you create a brand value. I'm convinced about this. The company is not about me; it's really about the dream team and the values behind. And so we have done a lot of things in marketing, and then we have decided 10 years ago, actually 10 years ago, exactly was 2016. I can remember that we're focusing only on online marketing. Really, we said online is the future, and we skip everything else, and it pays off. So we have a social media reach like no other company in our industry. So social media channels like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, really working well. And I think this is for any product and any service the future. Um, Very important decision was as well to stick with the fleet, with a homogeneous fleet, single type fleet, and it was not invented by me, I have to say. Back then, when I prepared the business plan for a company, I had access to a few public data, but I was very much studying the EasyJet case, because all those data were publicly available, and I even had a meeting with the founder, and he brainwashed me how important is this single type thing, and I understood the economics behind and how it works. So our decision was to go exactly for this, focusing purely on that. Yeah, and last but not least, I think what we have decided since day one, we only look forward. And maybe it's a bit selfish, but and bullish, I would say. I have never plan B. There's a plan A, and you focus 100% of your energy on plan A, and plan B is not needed, yeah, because you're focusing fully on plan A. And sometimes you have to go left and right, and so, but use 100% of your energy on plan A, and we are not looking at competitors at all. Yeah, so okay, we have so much on our plate, we have no time and no energy. What's going left and right and behind us? So always a full thrust forward. That's I think those are the main elements which we are still sticking to it, and we have not deviated. And I think this is a way how to move on and build a brand.
Yeah. I mean, this is reflected throughout GlobeAir for sure. But I would say that's one of your traits, is to say, well, here's the plan, and now full throttle forward. So it's there's of course a lot of you within GlobeAir. Y-
Yeah, when I did my pilot license, you learn very much the concept of risk mitigation. And I think you have to take risk in your daily life. You take always risk, yeah, but you have to balance it out and say, okay, what can I do to mitigate the risk that I have a high probability to succeed in whatever you do. Yeah?
Mm.
And this core, also this concept of risk mitigation, which is very much in aviation, helps the company itself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny your point about fleet homogeneousness speaks to me very specially because before business aviation, I was in trains. Um, we're actually recording in London today, and I was based in London, looking after the operations of the Eurostar train. And I was there for the transition between the single fleet, which Eurostar had for 15 years, and then when a second set of trains were brought in, that's when problems started. Sure, there was good reasons to introduce a new train type because there was 20% more seats. So okay, yeah, to accommodate more capacity. But in everything from maintenance to catering to station flows to train managers to everything is
You build a second infrastructure in a company.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. So that's probably a pretty structural one for you in GlobeAir, because a lot of your economics would flow from there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Is it a bad word to say you've standardized business aviation or you're working to standardize?
I mean, we are on the lower end, right? And I think the reason why we're on the lower end, I see way more potential to standardize it,
Mm.
because way more many people can use the product. It's sort of affordable. And as we do in the cockpit, you speak always about SOPs, standard operating procedures, standardizing things. And I would say we should do the same in business aviation, particular when it comes to um, a model like we have, so a high, a single type aircraft fleet, high sweaty assets, so high volume. Um, then you need that, yeah. Because what I learned, to build in economies of scale is not that easy. It's a real challenge. I thought it's much easier, but the complexity of this industry is tremendous. I This is the one thing which I would say was completely surprising to me, because before I was in other industries, and for me in my, I don't know, amateur thinking, I thought, okay, the pharmaceutical industry must be the most regulated, the most complex things. You're dealing with people and pills and drugs and stuff. But then I learned really, and I would say today, and I'm quite confident in that aviation is one of the most complex industries in this world. Of course, it's about safety. I mean, we are human beings are not born to fly, so we use technology for that. And once you're up in the air, there's no choice. I mean, you can stop the aircraft, right? You have to ensure somehow that you land the aircraft safely. So be back on the ground. And that's why I was surprised by the complexity. So there's so much complexity in this industry that it's essential to make it affordable, the product, to standardize as much as you can. Yeah. And my team is obsessed by looking at processes and what we are doing, and if there's a workaround, could this be a standard process, or how can we standardize that? Yeah. And you have in aviation so many stakeholders. If you have the customer, and then you're ending up the very complex school for aircraft mechanic engineers. So the range of complexity is significant.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. One of the big challenges in this industry, and back to our conversation on technology and how it's helping us, is automation, right? It's making all of these tasks, whether it's ground operations or in the cockpit or air traffic control, and is to bring some automation in there. And I think the challenge that I've heard talked about the most in this industry is pricing and single price and essentially having for each flight a price and make it ready to sell. Is this industry ever going to be able to automate its sales process?
Yes, I'm convinced about it, absolutely, but it needs a different approach. I give you another example because I'm a big space fan. And the way NASA has developed to explore the orbit, and when they launched the space shuttle program, very conservative. The progress was really little, and then all of a sudden, a company like SpaceX comes up. and does things differently. And the speed of progress is quite impressive. So I would say we need a very similar mindset here in private aviation, saying, okay, let's take some risk. Yeah, let's take some risk. Let's try out things. Don't stick to the old patterns and the old the way of thinking. We need a bit more risk taking without jeopardizing safety. But you just mentioned air traffic control. I mean, we're still using technology, speaking on radios with the technology of the Second World War. I mean, this is insane, right? Slowly we see, okay, there's other technologies coming in and so on. But I think we need to think what can be revolutionized. Yeah, a good example in our industry is Garmin. Garmin, they I don't know, they presented one of the first products, I don't know how many years ago, some decades, these little handhelds. They needed 5, 6 minutes to align with some satellites, and then you got some numbers which just give you your position, not even a map or something. And today in business aviation, I don't know the number, but my guess is 80% of the private jets manufacturers right now using Garmin technology. And it's only software driven. Yeah, you have some screens and that's it. And behind you have some LRUs, and then there's software behind, and the speed of developing is quite interesting. But on the other side, the regulator is very slow, releasing new software versions and so on. I think we need an approach where we take a bit more risk, yeah, and say, okay, bring technology in a much faster pace. Yeah. Um, at the end, I think comes down to who has the guts and who takes the responsibility to take this risk. Yeah, this is it. But I think collectively as an industry, you in the industry, I'm in industry, we have to team up and bring all the different aspects and angles together. We all have to speak to each other to get the barriers down of this egoism and so on, and say, okay, what can be done? And I think if many people, many smart people on the table speak to each other and bringing some inputs from different perspectives and different areas of this industry, I think we could advance way more technology. And then it comes also down standardized pricing, real-time availability of the capacity on the market. This is much needed. But I think the pace, how we introduce and iterate those technology is way too slow. And our customer is way ahead. I mean, everyone has his iPhone. You manage your daily life on your phone. We are talking about autonomous driving and stuff. So I think we are in our industry way too slow.
Yeah. There is, if we go back to your market, I mean, GlobeAir is a pure fractional player, or was until today. You can see you can sense the pulse of the market. I guess GlobeAir's numbers through the years probably tell the story of the charter market. But you've decided that you were ready for a new challenge, which is fractional ownership. And you've got a program you're calling 30 by 30. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So yeah, also we have introduced 2 years ago a vision for 2030. We call this project and the vision actually 30 by 30. Of course, I can't stop. I want to develop further with the dream team, our company. And we thought, okay, what's next? Okay, we built a fleet of Mustangs, the largest in the world, ending up with 22 Mustangs. And of course, we could continue to grow. On the other side, we had to accept that the aircraft is out of production. So we can't continue with our business model forever. It's impossible. For sure, we can do a few years. There are younger models we can source from the secondary market. But I think we have reached the peak. So, and I think what many companies overlook is when you reach the peak and then what's next, right? And I said, okay, I did my MBA, I did a lot of case studies and looking into those companies who passed the peak and completely missed the train for the future, and said, okay, I don't want to experience this myself. So what's next? And we said, okay, we want to continue. So our core product is time efficiency, and our main market is short haul Europe. This is what we are, and we want to stick to that. We gained almost 20 years of expertise on that. We understand our customer, we understand the needs, we understand the stakeholders from the FBO to the airport to ATC. So we have a very good understanding and how the industry works. And we have also developed processes and a whole landscape of software of standard processes, the way we deal with internal things, the way we communicate to the customer, to the basically to the user interface, and we want to keep that. We don't want to reinvent ourselves, but we said, okay, we can what we have right now, we can improve and get better and get better. This is what we want, but we need a future for our platform, and our aircraft platform has, as I said, reached its peak, and we are looking for the next one. And the next platform, there are multiple aircrafts out there. We have decided to go for the Citation M2. Similar performance profile, better though, and fulfills exactly what we need for short haul Europe, for max 6 passengers. This is fantastic, but we have to transform the company in many ways, and this is exactly what we are going now through. What you have just described with your train, a second type, a second model. Everything is different. It's a very interesting learning phase right now. Um, and we also had to accept, because the current fleet we have was financed by ourselves, so we always reinvested into the fleet. It's the biggest capex exposure we have, but with the next platform, it's too much of a risk. Yeah? So that's why, so we have to go from asset heavy to a bit more asset light and share the risk with some customers. That's why we introduced this fractional ownership program, and gives us a bit more freedom, also to control a bit better the cash flow and our risk exposure on the capex. And we do a lot of learnings, introducing a second type, fractionalizing it, quite interesting exercises. It goes a bit slower than I thought. Yeah. We were a bit overconfident maybe, but it progresses. We have great support from our OEM, Textron. They understand the concept, they support the concept and giving us really big support. And yeah, so right now we are in the phase to transform this in a dual type operation, because we want to keep the Mustang at least till 2030.
So if it serves as any reassurance, Eurostar is still here with two train types. They've opened London to Amsterdam. They're doing better than ever.
Okay, maybe I need some of your contacts, and so have a bit quicker learning and then get some expertise back. But yeah, so the target is by 2030, we have 30 M2s in the fleet, most of them fractionalized, and we're starting this transition by Q1 right now. And so last year we were focusing to prepare everything from the approval side as well. You have to adjust the AOC, you have to get the maintenance ready, and so on and so forth. So a lot of things happening in the background. Pilots go to training. So a lot of things going on in the background, that we are ready when the first aircraft arrives. So quite exciting, very intense time, because our core product, our core business has to keep going, and we want to don't lower our standards of service to our customers. That's why we had to ramp up the team, we had to invest here and there. So it's quite exciting, but I'm quite confident and convinced that we'll make it. So 2030 is 30 by 30, means 30 M2s in 5 years from now.
Yeah, it's pretty bullish.
Yeah.
So we'll have another podcast in 2030 then. How about that?
I will pencil in my calendar.
So, I mean, you know how obsessed we are with efficiency. I guess, one of the reasons behind what we do at Rise is that we admire those who are building electric aircraft. We think that's great. We think sustainable aviation fuel, great. But it's all taking a bit of time, and these are major new technologies. And so our big stance is to say, well, we have an industry today that is far from the optimal, and that would really benefit from more efficiency. And this is really our credo, is to say, well, let's boost the efficiency of this industry. And I think this is where you and I got along, is to say, well, we think both that a lot more can be done today. And so I was wondering if your fractional model um, also speaks to that objective. Do you think fractional ownership is the ultimate efficiency?
So what we learned, the number one thing our customers are looking for is availability. So of course, and to guarantee or to make availability possible, you need a very efficient system behind how you manage the capacity. You know, when you have, I mean, it's quite simple to understand. If you fractionalize one aircraft and let's say you put 8 owners on it, and they want to fly on the same day, it's simply impossible. So you need a fleet behind, and then you need a system, and ideally 100% automated by software like RISE, where in the background you can um, look at all the demand you have, and then by IT and smart algorithms, so put it as well by AI, like your software does, you find the optimum to use the capacity and the assets in the most efficient way, as well for sustainability reasons. I totally agree. I mean, at one point, this planet runs out of fossil energy, or we have to stop this pollution with CO2 to keep our planet for the next generations or for thousands of years. So that's why I think we need a mindset shift, which is going on, I think, but it takes some time. Yeah, there's some investments involved. Still, companies want to make some business, so the pace is maybe not at that speed as we all want, because of business reasons, which I understand. But gradually, we may get there, right? We see the similar in the electric mobility. It gets there. I think you can't stop it. It's on the way. Some hiccups here and there, but that's it. So, and fractionalizing private jet is bringing more efficiency into it because we have seen owners of aircraft, the purchase a brand new aircraft, and then you look at the flight hours the aircraft does, and then you think this is not an aircraft; it's a ground craft because flying 50 to 60 hours a year, while the aircraft can technically do for sure a few hundred hours, yeah, if not even more. So we put in our Mustang about 700 to 800 hours a year on it, while we learned that the usual private owner of a Mustang flies less than 50. So, and this is not an efficient way of using resources because the aircraft has been built by man hours, material, and stuff. So, but it's not an efficient way to use an asset. That's why we think having a fractional ownership program where a usual customer with a normal need, then he flies not more than 100 hours, even if he's really busy. So, why not having an asset which can easily do 6, 7, 800 hours, and then having 8 users on it by using 100 hours every year, which makes the asset way more efficient. But of course, then you need to take care in the background that when you have peak days where everyone wants to use the asset, you optimize in the background, either by having a fleet and then you're optimizing the fleet, which aircraft does which job, right? Or even software gives you the idea, okay, this customer, we propose him to fly 1 hour later because then the other one can be satisfied as well. So, and this is efficiency. And then at the end, we use the resources in a much better way. And this is our path to sustainability.
Mm. Yeah, it's very interesting that, I mean, fractional, yeah, two-thirds of the market in the US is fractional. That's where it started and expanded. And all of these fractional ownership fleets are floating fleets, and that's seems to be the winning model. And so, really, I think for me, fractional means efficiency of the operations, but you're adding another angle. You're saying it's also the efficiency of the asset. As if you've got each of these owners flying 50 hours in their own corner, then you're not getting anywhere. You need 8 planes for the same service, which makes no sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you gonna have to introduce some rules maybe on prioritization for peak days and stuff like that?
Yes, of course, we are looking into those, but we want to keep those as minimum as possible. Um, that you really give the customers the feeling, okay, fractional makes sense. If you introduce fractional and then you put too many limits on it, then customers becoming shy and said, okay, then better I have it just and fly my 100 hours on my plane. This is not the point. It's about efficiency. But if you talk to customers and explain how it works, and I just what I mentioned as an example, if you say, okay, fly 1 hour later or 1 hour early, and then it works fine out. Usually what we see, customers have no problem, giving you some flexibility. When you explain the reasons behind and you're transparent and explain it's about efficiency as well. Because at the end of the day, every individual wants to contribute in a positive way and being efficient. This is what we all want, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and presumably you can also give them a discount if they move
for
backward,
example,
forward, and
right?
everybody wins. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This really the systematic approach to efficiency is really what we're.
This is
Yeah,
exactly what I said. We need a systematic approach. It cannot happen by accident occasionally. And
yeah,
so it needs a systematic approach.
yeah. Bernhard, it's always fun and exciting to have these discussions with you. You started GlobeAir in 2008, but you have the youth and the excitement of day one, I think. Probably because you're launching this new project.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on Rise Talks. It's been wonderful to have you. If you have any final words of wisdom, feel free. Uh,
No,
before we
thank you
wrap
for
up.
having me. Yeah, that's one thing I'm obsessed about. Although I'm a big aviator, but everyone in our industry should use technology. Technology is key. Technology drives everything in the background, and I see way more room to use technology. And thanks to visionary guys like you, we can use more technology. So please don't stop going out and telling the industry what we are doing wrong and what the industry needs, because we really need it. So technology is a key driver for any industry, I'm convinced. So that's why our industry needs as well. We have so many inefficiencies in our industry. You have no idea. Yeah, thanks for having me. And we see each other latest at 23.
Sounds good. Thanks very much,
Okay,
Bernhard.
thank you for having me.